will you be needing the mic? Oh, you already have. Okay, and the first fireside chat will take place with Tata Electronics. May I request Mr. Jim Walsh, VP Tooling, and Mr. Kannan, our AVP Tooling, to please join us here on stage. Huge round of applause for all the gentlemen on the stage. Thank you so much.
Okay, good afternoon everyone again. And welcome Mr. Walsh, Mr. Kannan. Thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us. This is a different format. It's basically an open conversation that we would want to have, fundamentally to understand your expectations from the tooling industry, and of course to discuss the potential ways in which the tooling industry could scale up and of course serve your business needs as well. Let me start off by asking you, Mr. Walsh, if you can help us understand a little bit about Tata Electronics business in India, and then, of course, talk a little bit more about detail in terms of the tooling requirements for Tata Electronics.
Sure. So Tata Electronics, as many of you know, is one of the newest groups in companies under the Tata Group. It was started. The inception was about 4 years ago with just a handful of people. And we've grown to about 15,000 people now. And the original business unit was to make mobile phone components. We've expanded where we acquired the Wistron plant, FATP assembly plant. We're coming up with a second FATP plant. And as many of you know, we have a recent foray into the semiconductor world with a massive commitment. So this, I can say, is really just the beginning of Tata Electronics. And we currently, in the components, the original components division, we are we broke ground on phase 2, so we will be doubling our size in the next year. Okay. And Kannan and I, about 3 years ago, started up our own tool room. It's a state-of-the-art tool room with all the best equipment. But what makes it state-of-the-art is the mindset we're bringing to it, a world-class mindset. Anybody can buy equipment. Okay. If you have the capital, you can buy the equipment. But building a culture of quality and precision is the real challenge. So since we are doubling our size, our tool room will also be doubling its size in the next year. And we're currently at about 170 people in the tool room. And we will be adding about another 150 people in the next year. So heads up to the industry out there. We're looking for the top talent. If you're in the top 10% of what you do, be it machine operator, engineer, technical SME, we're looking for you. So.
Okay, so interesting. So that's a call out to the talent. So if I understand correctly, most of your tooling requirements currently for the smartphone manufacturing and then going forward into semiconductor is currently being made through captive tool rooms, if I understand correctly? Through captive, the internal tool room that you have, or do you also look at commercial tool rooms outside your, and how is that going to, that share going to change in future? Do you see that it continues in the same way as current?
No, actually it's going to be a captive tool room, as you said very rightly. Just only one point I'd like to add what Jim said. Now current tool room capacity is around 3 to 5 molds per month we can make it, but we have to scale it up to 12 molds per month, which means that that's the reason actually he said we need to increase the manpower also, double the manpower, that's the one point. Yeah, coming back to the question actually, no, yes, it's going to be a captive tool room, which will be supporting only in-house requirements.
Understand. Okay, so in that, I mean, just a follow-up question on that. So, any thoughts on why the need to set up a captive tool room, and why not look at the commercial tool rooms which are there in India? What are your thoughts on that?
It's really a good question. Why? Because the demand by the customer, not by us, is very high. When I said very high, I mean it. Something actually, sometimes it is not even possible by the suppliers. I don't blame anybody. This is what it is. Even we ourselves, to prove this level, we struggled a lot, for which you need to invest both money and energy. So being a commercial tool manufacturing person or industry is very tough, okay, to spend these kind of things, whatever I said. So initially, we develop our own tools, then we will come out with our own DFM. That DFM can be passed on to the suppliers. That will be the easiest way for the supplier to follow it up. Okay, for them it's very easy just to follow our way. Then they can meet the results.
Okay, so you are, the tool room that you are talking about would be catering to electronics industry, which in the current mix for the tooling industry, as we see in the reports also, is fractional compared to the overall tooling. I mean, the tool rooms have still, I would say, to some point, have developed expertise in the automotive industry, because that forms close to around 60-65% of the overall tooling demand. What change do you expect the tool, I mean, from automotive to electronics in terms of the tooling requirements, in terms of the capabilities, in terms of the capacities, any marked shift that you see between an automotive and an electronics industry requirements of tooling?
To sum up the differences between automotive tooling, I'm speaking specifically molds, which is primarily what we do. But between automotive and EMS, in one word, I would say accuracy. The machining accuracy. For EMS, for certain types of EMS parts, for mobile phone, for connectors, that sort of thing, you have to be able to reliably machine to 2 to 5 micron. And what we found is we struggle to find that capability in India.
Okay.
So that, of course, the lead time is short also. The molds are smaller, they're more intricate, more moving components. And in many cases, like in connector molds, they're like a jigsaw puzzle. There's so many inserts.
So interesting point brought out by you, Mr. Walsh. So does that mean that the reason, and does that also link back to your decision to set up the captive tool room, is that the current setup in the commercial tool room does not have those capabilities which you are looking at from a tool room to supply to the electronics industry? Is that the case? And if they start to scale up, could there be a possible shift towards looking for them as partners?
Blindly, I don't wash it out, the capability, whatever the current industries, tooling industries are having currently, because they are extremely doing well in the automotive industries. Yes. So no doubt on that. When it comes to the EMS industry, the requirement, as I said earlier, is very high, no other chance. No other choice, actually, we have to meet their demands. The shift, what you are talking, yes, it is needed. Needed in a big way, starting from the infrastructure build-up, developing the culture among the employees, creating the systems, and coming out with some kind of work instructions, then undergo with the OJTs, Then the supervisor or managers, whoever it may be, they have to keep an eye on them, monitor them, control them, in order to achieve the consistency on the outcomes. So the shift to whomever we have visited so far in the past 3 years, starting from the stage one, you need to change altogether. Okay. Just for an example, I can tell you only one thing. In automotive industry, the feed system, the runner, weight itself, 100 times of our part weight. Okay. Some of the parts are of micro molding, less than 0.1 gram. So which needs actually a high level of skill set. Shift, yes, it is needed very big way.
Okay, interesting. So, I mean, if I summarize, there is a marked shift between the capabilities which the current tool rooms have by virtue of them catering mostly to the automotive industry versus what you would require in the electronics industry.
The closest we found are the guys that are doing connector tooling.
Okay.
Because connector tooling demands this level of accuracy. So you live or die by being capable to meet 2 to 5 micron. I have an affinity for the connector guys. I've met some here because I've got a 35 plus year career in connector tooling. So there's some overlap. You know, there's automotive connectors that require the same accuracy as many EMS parts. But the bottom line is machining accuracy. There's no way around it. So the customers require it, and if you want to be in this game, you've got to scale up that capability.
Only one point, just he was mentioning about the surface finish. I think before this presentation, Makino was talking about 70 micron in the RA value. To be honest, actually our customer is expecting around 40. And we to maintain it successfully, just for the sharing purpose.
Interesting. So, I mean, what I understand is, of course, then Tata Electronics as a company, as a firm, would be looking at serving the tooling needs mostly through captive tool rooms. Of course, you're in the lookout for the right kind of talent in the market, and of course, and you have ambitious plans to grow. And as I understand, Mr. Kannan, the strategy is not going to change, at least in the near future. Because I was wanting to ask if let's say the tool rooms want to work with you, what could be the potential ways in terms of having a partnership with you? Is there a window open for them at this point in time, and how could that be?
Yeah, definitely yes. The answer is yes. We have some limitations in ordering the whole mold or press tools, sheet metal tools, or die casting dies, because all are there in our product.
Okay.
Only thing is actually in controlling the confidentiality. We cannot actually offer the whole mold or whole press tool, whole die casting dies. But the elements can be, whole elements, all the elements can be given to the vendor suppliers, provided if they are ready to take up the load.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. I think that gives us a lot of clarity in terms of how the tooling strategy is evolving. Final thoughts on, or any thoughts in terms of, because you've been understanding the sector, you've also been in the end-use industry. Recommendations or thoughts for the tool rooms, or most of the individuals present here, what could be your thoughts in terms of how the tool rooms could scale up in India?
I think a universal problem that we all have, and I've heard it over and over today, is this skill development.
Skill development, okay.
The training centers that we've visited are a bit outdated and underfunded. What's needed is some support from the government in many ways. I don't think we want to hold our breath for that. So as an industry, we need to come together and possibly pull our resources and build a training center. I know some companies are doing this internally, and we are also planning that because there's no other choice. We can't really get what we need from the market. So, and you know, I don't see very many young people here, right? It was mentioned that there's a lack of women represented. That's true. There's also a lack of young people, you know. So I'm worried about the next generation. Us old-timers are going to be gone before too long, and somebody has to carry on. And if we don't change the perception of toolmaking, young people are going to go into IT and elsewhere. So I don't have all the answers, but I do know that if we don't take control and come up with a way to change the perception and build a training model, then the future of this industry is looking bleak.
I think very pertinent and very valid point. So skill, A, upskilling, and B, retention of talent, or first attracting the right kind of talent. I mean, of course, the industry, the young talent is being attracted towards the services industry. So manufacturing as a whole is something which is not becoming very attractive, and then tooling per se in that is all the more not attractive for the youngsters to join. So pertinent point, and I think the solution, any thoughts in terms of what could be the steps taken by to attract the right kind of talent, the young talent, the dynamic talent in the tooling industry?
Yeah. Youngsters actually need to be mentored, mainly. I don't really blame them, the youngsters. The leaders need to guide them, handhold, and take them forward, okay, even by step, because this is what I am doing now. For the past 3 years, this is what I am doing exactly. Otherwise, actually, it's simply we blame ourselves and pinpointing the next generation is not coming and all. It's our job, in fact, including me. This is what I feel it. As long as we guide them, there are people ready to pick it up and go forward. So mostly I feel like leaders' job.
All right, so leaders should have a big responsibility. So I think with that, I mean, unless you have any further insights or further thoughts, closing thoughts, but then with that we can close this chat. Yes, Mr. Walsh.
One thing I would like to highlight is, and I'm speaking from an outsider's point of view, since I'm not Indian, but I'm here committed to helping India scale up. And I've done the same in China. I was in China for 12 years. And I can see a difference. In China, they would hang on my every word. They were eager to learn. And for the most part, do what I said when I mentored them. But here, there's a pervasive attitude of, we're already the best. Okay. And that's a dangerous place to be. My exhortation would be, have some humility. Educate yourself what world-class really is. And if you're not there, close the gap. But if you think you're already there, then you're not going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities at hand. The primary reason for so many opportunities now is companies diversifying from China. They're not coming here because we're faster, quality is better. In some cases, maybe, but in general, that's not why they're coming here. It's geopolitical reasons. So this is an opportunity we have to take up. But it will require some humility to make the change.
Well, I think some soul searching to be done by the industry, and humility is something that that is a trait that we should carry to attract the right kind of talent, to retain them, and of course to work towards our capabilities. Thank you so much, Mr. Walsh. Thank you, Mr. Kannan, for sharing your deep insights, and of course we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And gentlemen, thank you. Like it is said, dream work is teamwork, and I think you all were reassuring us with that notion. Huge round of applause for these gentlemen here on stage. This was only the first fireside chat, and we would like to felicitate both these gentlemen. So may I request Mr. Ashutosh to please take center stage while we felicitate Mr. Walsh and Mr. Kannan with a huge round of applause. Huge round of applause for Mr. Kannan. Calls for a perfect photo. Let's also have a group photo op together. Thank you, gentlemen, once again. Mr. Ashutosh, we will request you to moderate the next two fireside chats as well, while I request our next guest, Mr. Munvar Saeed, General Manager, Supply Chain, Mechanical Commodity, Aether Energies, to please join us on stage. Huge round of applause.